Hi there everyone, welcome to Creative Coloring with Erum. Today I will share two cards with you using the same stamp set, but I will change the layout of these cards and I will also show you two colorways that will make the cards look different. So I will use the Bold Bouquet stamp set, and I also have the coloring stencil with it, which I'll be using today. I'll use obsidian pigment ink and stamp the image slightly off the edge on Crest Solar White cardstock. This is 80 pounds. So when I stamped the second panel, I moved the panel to the left so that I could stamp more of the image. And then I also thought that while I would be creating the card, I would flip it so that the flower would be facing the other way around. For my first card, I'll be doing transitional inking. I'll be going from reds to oranges to yellows. I'll start by adding ruby red, autumn blaze, marigold, sunray, and citrus burst. These are the four ink colors that I'll be using. You can use any ink colors you want to for transitional ink blending, but my color palette is the fall color palette and warm hues because I'll be using a cool color palette for my other card. I would suggest to change the intensity of your ink blending, like increase it some places and decreases in some places so that it adds a variation to your inking. Just notice how I am inking through the stencils. In some places I would add a darker orange, and in some places I would add a lighter orange, and I would also mix a bit of orange on to that bigger red flower that I have inked. It's a fairly easy process. It just depends on what you like, and ink blending is super easy. It can be just one plain or ink blended image, or you can just experiment and play with it. I love to have fun and experiment with my ink colors and ink blends. And this is such a perfect opportunity when you have so many layers of stencils, and also where you can play within the petals, of one flower. Now for the first set of leaves, I will directly use Moss Crisp Dye ink. You can use any color you want. If you want to use a lighter color and add depth with the darker one, you can do that. I wanted to use one ink color here, and on the remaining ones I wanted to use a lighter color just to add a bit of variation among the leaves. So for this first set I used only the moss, adding a darker ink color on the base and then diffusing it out as I move towards the tips. To ink the next set of leaves, I use Parrot Crisp Dye ink, and now this is vibrant. I also added a bit of moss to the base of those leaves, and once I remove the stencil you can see the difference between both the sets of leaves right away. So now that the inking is done, I will use a fine liner pen set and draw a border around the image, skipping the floral bouquet, just to frame the card. I'm channeling my inner Laurie Willison. I'm also going to color in those stamens, the filaments. Once done, I will stamp my sentiment in obsidian pigment ink. Now this is a clean and simple card, and we did some transitional ink blending. You can use any color palette and any inks that you like that work together, that will blend together well to create something like this. Super easy, super fun. Now we'll move on to a cooler palette. For my second card, through stencil 1, I started by applying crystal violet fresh dye ink for all the flowers through stencil 1. And I tried to keep it concentrated on this base of the flower, the center of the flower, and lighter on the tips, as you can see. Now through stencil 2, I did the same. I applied the crystal violet fresh dye ink, but I also added turquoise crisp dye ink because I love to mix ink colors, and this adds a little bit of variation among the petals and also a bit of a pop. This also makes the image a little bit different than the other card that we just created, because on that card we did a transitional inking. Here we are ink blending within the same flower. So I'm not adding a lot of turquoise, I'm just adding a little bit of it, keeping it to minimal. Well, again, this is completely up to you. You can add as much as you want to or as less as you want to. My flowers are going to be all blue for this card, but the color that I'm going to add here, the pops that I'm going to add, are going to be on the leaves. Just wait and see. I wanted to create emerald-like leaves, but I knew it would be too dark with the flower. But I went ahead anyway. I thought I would add white splatters to tone it down, but I didn't do that. I created the forest fern leaves and left a few leaves as is, then added raspberry crisp dye ink to some of the leaves. Because I don't want the raspberry to look very odd, stark against the green and the blue, I thought it would be nice to have it overlap somewhere on the green. So I will mix it a little bit in some places and overlap it, even though it forms a bit of a gray tone, which is completely fine with me because I love the color that it creates. It is a purplish gray color, but I absolutely love it. Once I was done, I used a tea ruler and added these horizontal lines that I love to add on my one layer cards. These can be of various thickness. It depends on your style and what you like. I usually go for odd numbers. If odd numbers are not working for me, I usually go for what looks good with the type of image that I have. I don't stop until the card looks good. I normally draw these with the fine liner and fill these in with the artist alcohol marker in jet black. If you don't like to do this, you can die cut the image and add a pattern paper behind the image and then pop up the image with instant dimension foam tape. Use a striped pattern paper or striped washi tape. Once done, I will add paint splatters and then color in those filaments, then stamp the sentiment in obsidian pigment ink. And that's it. Both my cards are ready. I hope you liked the colorways and will give these color combinations a try. If you do, please don't forget to tag me and Altenew. Thanks so much for watching. Bye.
Hello there! Did that video just spark your creativity? And do you want more project ideas and inspiration videos too? Well, if you do, please make sure that you subscribe to the Altenew YouTube channel. Also, make sure that you do click that notification bell so you don't miss a video. Thanks so much for watching. Bye bye!